For generations, school drills have been this kind of rite of passage, right? Fire drills, earthquake drills. But the threats our kids are facing have changed, and so have the drills. So today, we're going to dig into the history of these drills, from the Cold War all the way to today, to try and understand what they're really for, and maybe what they reveal about our own fears. Kind of sounds like a catchy, innocent kids song, right? Well, this was the soundtrack to an entire generation's anxiety. It was the little jingle that was supposed to save them from something unspeakable. But what exactly was Bert the Turtle so alert about? Yup, a nuclear bomb. Bert was the animated star of a film called Duck and Cover, and it was shown in schools all over the country. The instructions were really simple. When you see that bright flash of a nuclear explosion, you drop to the ground, get under something sturdy like a desk, and cover your head. And get this wasn't just some brief fad from the 50s. These drills actually stuck around well into the 1980s. It was a direct response to a constant, looming threat that pretty much shaped daily life, a feeling that, well, it might seem a little too familiar when we think about schools today. Okay, so this is where the psychology behind all this gets really interesting. As physician Jeff Lee points out, let's be honest, did anyone really think hiding under a desk would save them from a nuclear blast? Probably not. So why do it? It seems like the drill was less about actual survival and more about managing this profound sense of helplessness that the adults were feeling. It wasn't action, any action, to feel like you had some kind of control. So let's jump forward in time. We're leaving the Cold War behind and heading into today's classrooms. And even though the threat has changed, that need for a response for a drill, well, it's only gotten more intense. Think about this number. A staggering 95% of American schools now have active shooter drills. 95%. That just shows you how completely widespread this practice is now. It's the new standard, really. It's the modern version of huddling under a desk, waiting for a bomb to fall. And when you look at it like this, the parallel is it's crystal clear. The threat switches from a bomb to a shooter. The hiding spot goes from a desk to a supply closet, but the basic action, hiding from a terrifying threat, that stays disturbingly the same. And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. Are today's drills, just like Duck and Cover, more about giving us adults the illusion that we're doing something, that we're protecting our kids? The source material points out that at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, they had done plenty of these drills. It brings up this really uncomfortable question. Do these exercises create real safety or just the feeling of it? Okay, but what about the professionals on the front lines? What do the teachers who are actually running these drills think about all of this? Well, a 2021 study from Walden University gives us that exact perspective. And what this study found is, well, it's pretty eye-opening. Teachers are saying the drills are all about procedure, with very little thought given to the emotional needs of the students. They're asking for more training, because right now they feel like they're just being left to manage all the psychological fallout completely on their own. So why is this so hard for young kids? The concerns that educators have aren't just a gut feeling. They're actually rooted in the fundamental science of how a young child's brain works. It all comes back to a concept called developmentally appropriate practice, or DAP. And it's a really simple idea. You teach kids in a way that actually matches how their brains are developing. You wouldn't try to teach calculus to a first grader, right? In the same way, you have to think about how a young child's mind is going to process something as terrifying as an active shooter drill. And the science of child development tells us something really important here. It tells us that a young child's brain just processes the world in a fundamentally different way than an adult's does. So here's the deal. For a little kid, that line between what's real and what's pretend, it's super blurry. They really struggle to tell the difference between a perceived threat, like a drill, and a real one. So for that child hiding in the dark, the danger can feel absolutely 100% terrifyingly real. And this quote, man, it just perfectly captures that disconnect. When you put the psychology into the real-world context of a drill, the impact is just chilling. Are we really teaching these kids how to be safe, or are we teaching them that their classroom is a place where they have to hide from monsters in the dark? And that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? The argument here is that by relying so heavily on these drills as the main solution, we adults are kind of doing our own version of duck and cover. We're hiding from the much bigger, way more complex problem by focusing on a procedure that makes us feel like we're taking action, even if we don't fully understand its true impact on a child's mind. So the article leaves us with this powerful metaphor from the Cold War to ask a question about today. the flash of light isn't some hypothetical bomb anymore. It's the constant, blinding reality of school violence. And it leaves us with a really tough question to think about. What is the right response? What action will truly protect our kids, not just from physical harm, but from fear itself?